Hey everyone, my name is Giancarlos Mendez. This is the final presentation for CS6460 Educational Technology, and I'm going to talk about Money Smart, which is my project for the course. It is a mobile application for financial literacy. And so let me begin with giving you a little bit of background as to why I chose this topic and why I'm so passionate about it and what's the solution, right? So I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. I've only been living in the United States mainland for less than 3 years now. And so back then, I guess that personal finances, it was not a very mainstream topic. And then, the more advanced finance related topics such as, stock market, stocks, bonds, all that type of stuff. It was not something that people talked about a lot, nor was it something that people really understood that well. So once I finished college and I moved to the United States, I've read a few different personal finance books, and needless to say, those really helped me with my financial literacy skills. Up to the point where nowadays, I'm pretty passionate about the topic. And when I started this course, I was wondering, okay, so what is some type of technology that I did not have at the time growing up that would have been very helpful for me? So during my education in personal finance, I've learned that there are many different applications that do each of the different financial topics well. Like, for example, if you want to buy or sell stocks, you can use Robinhood. Or if you want to check, if you want to keep track of your expenses and create budgets and all that, you can use Mint. But I think that, at least for me, the part where I struggled the most initially was how to put everything together, right? So basically, like, where do I start if I want to learn about what I should be using? Another really important topic is credit cards, how to build a good credit score. And then there's also talking about investments, talking about, what I should invest in. Then there's retirement, all this stuff. So for me, the issue was how to connect everything. And this is what those books that I read helped me out with. And so my idea for this course was that, what if I build an application where basically anybody can jump in with zero knowledge of, personal finances, and then they can either go into a specific topic that they're interested in, and they would be able to learn about that topic and be given real life recommendations of tools that exist that they could use. Or if they really have no idea where to start, then they could simply press a button that starts from like the bare essentials. And they could also have the option, if like me, my first language is Spanish, so this application should also have a Spanish capability for those of us that at the time I didn't know that much English. So if I wanted to learn all of these things in Spanish, then be able to do so. So that is where Money Smart comes into play. It is a mobile application where they can do just that. They can go in, they can choose a topic, or they can start from zero, and then they're going to see real life recommendations for all of these topics. So let me just go straight into the application. It's an iOS application. So I built it using Swift 4, specific for the iPhone XS. And then once I run the application, let me open up the simulator. All right, so here you go. So this is the main menu for Money Smart. It's actually quite simple. I designed the application in a way that it's meant to be extremely simple to use for anyone. In a way that it explains all these very important topics, but it does not feel intimidating. So here from the main menu, they could either choose what topic they want to go into, or they could change the language, or they could simply start straight into basically like the bare essentials. So here you would go into, if you press start, you go straight into debt with it, which is the most basic topic that I talk about in the entire application. And then once you go into any of the topics, you can see how it shows the entire topic in sort of like a book-like manner. but it doesn't go into any too fancy terms or anything like that. It uses images to feel friendly for the user. It describes, it gives a lot of tips. It tells you how to save on many different, how to save money. For example, on debt. So, for example, if you have like a lot of different debt, then you can refinance it to pay less interest, and then that would save you a lot of thousands of dollars if you do it correctly. And then at the end of each one of these topics is going to give you basically, like the tools. So what tools can I use in order to consolidate my debt? So here I give this Marcus by Goldman Sachs. This is a fairly new bank that is giving loans at a fixed rate. So using that, you should be able to save some money. And then it goes through, there's basically 6 different topics that are covered. So there's debt, banking, investments, retirement, credit, and passive income. I chose these 6 topics based on the first personal finances book that I read. It explained these topics in this order. So I thought that, since it made sense to me back then it would also make sense to anybody who is using this application that wants to learn about personal finances. And so investments, which is the one topic that covers the most amount of things, it goes through everything starting out from inflation, why you should want to beat inflation, goes all the way into stocks, bonds, mutual funds, mutual funds, ETFs, and then it gives like a recommended portfolio that you should use that has historically proven to give good results. And then once you go here into tools, then it explains, so you have Betterment, which is for people that simply want to invest, but they don't want to go through the hassle of determining what they should invest in. It's as simple as just, putting the money in there, choosing your risk tolerance, and then the application is going to do the rest for you. And also for each one of these tools that I recommend, I give the link so that they can go straight into the page straight into the page that I am talking about in that recommendation. So Vanguard, for those of us that are interested in choosing what type of ETFs and mutual funds and REITs we are interested in investing in, and then Robinhood for those that are interested in investing in single stocks. Now, the other big feature for Money Smart, which is what I mentioned earlier of it being friendly for minorities. So basically, for anybody that does not really know a lot of English but is still interested in learning about personal finances, is a language feature. So I personally translated the entire application so that they can they can read all the exact same content but in Spanish, and this includes the tools at the end. So all of these tools, like Marcus by Goldman Sachs I talked about earlier, it explains in Spanish why you should want to use it. So my hope for this is that Latin Americans that want to learn about these topics, that they're not intimidated and they actually have something that they can go into and learn personal finances from now, which is something that I really would have appreciated when I started learning about this. So you can switch back and forth between Spanish and English, and then the whole application refreshes. I guess so that is Money Smart. Thank you very much for this. Thank you very much for your attention, and feel free to leave me any feedback or comments below on the video. So thank you.